Hello. Today we are going to be looking at something called the slope. If you haven't already, grab out your MJ. I'm going to give you a definition on what slope is called, and then in the next few days we're going to learn a different name that comes with slope. So right now, first what you need to know is, if I can drag this down, there we go. Slope of a line is a ratio of the change in y to the change in x between any 2 points on the line. Whew, that's kind of a mouthful. Right now, just go ahead and get that copied down. Remember, you can pause it if you need to. Um, One thing I want to point out as you start writing this down is this word called ratio, which most typically is written as a fraction. Whoops. That says fraction. I apologize. I got a little bit off here. A fraction, which you'll see here in just a moment. Okay, so let's take a look here. What we have is I want to point out slope then. The most common version that we've heard of is rise over run. And this is where the fraction comes from. We'll see what that means here in just a moment. First off, let's take a look at what slope means. We have something called a negative slope and a positive slope. If you were to look at both of these two lines, one of them's going up, one of them's going down. The way that you want to take a look at it is if you're reading it like a book. So if I go from left to right, what's happening to the line at that case? Now ignore that they're all dotted and everything like that. That was just how I found out to make different colors. So pretend this is a full line. This green one, as I read from right to left, I end up going up, up, and up. So so since it's going upwards, this green one has the positive slope. This pink one, as I go from right to left, is going down. We call that then the negative slope. Let's try some examples where we find the actual slope of the line. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, move this out of the way. Here we go. All right. So in terms of copying this down, don't worry too much about it. If you want to sketch it, you can. I'm going to assume that every grid is 1 unit. First thing what you're going to want to do is when you have an equation that's graphed just like this, you're going to want to find 2 points on a line. If you go back to the definition, it talks about any 2 points on the line. So we're going to make 2 points on our line. There's a couple of ways to go about doing this. The best way is to find one that we like to call our perfectly even. Right here on the intersection. There's one right here. I can put a dot right on the line. I'm not going to use that one because you can see that it's not directly on the intersection of it. Neither is this one or this one. That one looks fairly close, but I think, well, yeah, might as well. Let's use this dot then. What we're going to do then is if we remember this fraction, rise over run, what that means is how high did it rise? How far over did it run? So let's take a look at these two dots here. How high did it end up rising? So if I went between these 2 points, it went up. How far? Well, I can either count it 1, 2, 3, or if I used it mathematically, this point here is -2, 1. This point up here is 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. I can either count up 1, 2, 3, or take a look at this number here. That y is at 1. It went up to 4. Either way, it went up 3 spaces. Over the run tells me how far over does it go. Okay, we can either count going across or we can look. I was at a -2 and I went to a +2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, my slope is 3/4 or 3/4. Is the slope of this line. Let's try another one. In this case, you'll notice this is quick, positive or negative. Whoops, I didn't want to move that. That's all right, though. We'll slide it right there. Since it's going down, that's actually a negative slope. Get my other arrow. That's what I wanted to do. Here we go. Just like last time, we need to choose 2 points that are right on an intersection. Here's one right here. And let's see. Oh, here's another one up there. Okay. We call the slope is rise over run. Therefore, the rise, how far did it rise? Well, if you take a look from this point, did it rise at all? Nope. It actually went down, which is just fine. So even though it's called rise, we're going to put a negative in front of it since it's going down. So how far did it go down? We can look here. It went down 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Again, you could do it mathematically. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5, comma 2. And this guy is at 2, comma -2. So if we look here, it went from 2 down to -2, which we counted was 4. Because it's going down, we actually say it's a -4. Over our run, you can count over from dot to dot. And it went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that right? Yes. Over 7. Or we could see that we went from -5 up to 2. In this case, my slope is -4/7. Now, my 2 examples here both ended up with fractions. You will have cases where, let's say this is just another example here. I ended up with, I don't know, 8/2. My rise was 8, went over 2. You are able to simplify and have a slope as a whole number as well, which is technically 4/1, but you can reduce it to 4. So that would just be, sometimes that happens as well. This is just kind of a brief introduction. If you still are kind of struggling with slope and how we go about finding it, we will practice this tomorrow in class. This lesson was mainly taken from the Big Ideas, which you can find on my website, lesson 2.2 if you wanted to kind of look through some of those examples, and then we will practice them in class tomorrow. Have a great afternoon.